Fuel your body with complete multivitamin, the perfect balance of essential nutrients for daily health and wellness. Carefully formulated from natural ingredients, our multivitamin packs vitamins A, C, D, E, plus key minerals like zinc and magnesium to support your immune system and boost energy. Just one.
Can you hear me, Joey? You got no sound.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, family. Good evening from my end, 20 minutes past 8 p.m. And welcome to another episode of the Africa Today Show. Hope you guys are having a beautiful Friday. Hope your week has been fantastic. And of course, hope you're ready for the weekend. It's a movie night. And as usual, of course, in case you're here and you do not have our application, it's a good time for you to actually rush to the Google Play Store and, of course, download our app. Apart from just getting yourself the amazing organic supplements we have on the likes of multivitamin, ashwagandha, moringa pure, shea butter, aloe cucumber, that is skincare products, and much more. You can be able to enjoy this kind of Friday nights with us, of course, catching up on amazing movies of the latest.
Or you can watch it on your TV, guys, on your Roku TV, your Amazon TV, your
Period.
Apple TV, or your Android TV. Whatever streaming television you have, go to your app store and download Black Wi-Fi Network, and you can join us there as well.
Kabisa, kabisa, kabisa. And of course, hope you get to also tune in and, of course, get to stay connected on the rest of the conversation. Maybe you might have missed on BitChute on YouTube. Through the app, actually, you're connected to all our streaming platforms. So, in case, like I keep on saying, in case you miss the shows on YouTube, maybe because of being taken down because of maybe privatization through the app, you can go to Digit and Rumble where you can catch the shows on a replay literally without any distraction. But Haribuni, my name is Joby. We have Mr. Blackwood Fire in the building as well. And like I said, today we shall be watching Training Day, the movie of tonight.
We're going
Uh,
back. We're going back. Yeah, we're gonna go back and watch Training Day, family. You know, when when Danzel won a Academy Award for it, talking about I'm King Kong. You know, I'm King Kong in this piece, right? No, so you just live here. I'm the motherfucking police. I'm putting charges on all you bitches. So
yes,
we didn't. It's hard to believe that this movie was 25 years ago.
damn,
Jesus
you're older
Christ.
than me.
Yeah, Joey was just a baby. With her diapers on, shitting on herself.
Yeah, so we shall be watching that tonight. And of course, before we get to that, as usual, I am
I'm putting, I'm putting cases on you, Jibba Jabba. I'm putting cases on all you bitches who ain't donated. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Go ahead, Joe.
literally, as it should. Y'all need to be on cases for not donating and having the audacity to ask for extra shows. But anyway, everyone
Yeah, they don't never stop that.
everyone is and before we get into the or rather on the network for the movie night, I have this video I wanna share literally. Similar to the same white guy who I was sharing yesterday's, who openly spoke about America being a shithole. Shout to him. It was very comical and went ahead and described literally how America is also a foundation of racism, literally how it's built on racism or its foundation is just based on racism, and explained deeper literally also how the history of black Americans, to be specific, is denied. We saw recently we had Trump removing some of the history that involves black Americans or black people literally, and this is literally where racism widely is seen of how they don't respect literally the black history in any sort of way, and will never literally. So that is a show of where it should never. You go back to Africa, come back to Africa, and let your history be acknowledged right here, because white people don't respect that. They don't know even what is that. They don't care. They widely proved that we should actually be forgetting, like what was literally sharing yesterday of some of the classes of uh, black
It's not,
sellers.
it's not,
Uh,
it's not just Black American history. It took a great African history too, Joby.
I'm saying, yeah, but I'm specifically
Uh,
hitting on
uh,
America right now.
all right,
Yeah.
calm down.
Yeah, so you trying we go back to the FBI's, the Indians wanna be, your history is not appreciated, acknowledged. And when I say that, it's not like we also or Africans know the best history of you guys. Again, we love using Simba as a good example of the narrative that has been long past of Black Americans have been living comfortable, or life is, yay there. There's no ups and downs and all that.
Life
But
is easy. Life is bling bling.
exactly. So specifically when you talk about Black America, that is a whole different thing. So when I talk about when you coming back to Africa and let your history make sense here, that is what I'm trying to say. Because where you are, it's not acknowledged. But if you come to the majority, who is us, educate us and help us relate how we relate. If you understand
But the
it,
white man, but the other white man already told you that Africa is going to be wealthier than America in a few generations. But
yeah,
I heard the white man's got a scam. He's going to try to destroy gold and make everything into Bitcoin, another fake currency. He's going to try to create another fake currency called Bitcoin and
they've already
devalue gold. And
they've
so
already they've already started. It's something that actually they are carrying out already. It's
they
already
want
under. Um, it's not a discussion they're having. They're
I
actually
know
trying
that.
to implement it.
Exactly. They want to make your gold worthless and start another fake scam.
Hmm. So yeah, before we get into the network, if you're joining Karibu Sana, shout out to Ricky, shout out to Jiba Jaba, shout out to Jason, and to everyone who's tuning in. Kindly, I'm gonna
Everybody's turning late. I'm putting cases on all you bitches for not donating. I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
please.
I'm the police up in here. But
That
not
is
you.
that
Good.
that is Kid putting cases on the network,
Yeah,
so you
I'm
better
putting cases on all you bitches. Where's
you
your
better
donation money?
you better download the app right now. We have a movie night, but before we get into that, let me share this amazing video, literally explaining a little bit of again the black oppression, white supremacists, again how they keep on carrying themselves and not wanting to acknowledge history or the things they keep on committing. I didn't like this guy's first guy's conversation, but the rest of the people actually did make a whole lot of sense. So a caution before Kid says Joby is sharing this moron. Yeah, so a caution. I didn't like this first guy conversation. I thought, yeah, I like the rest to
You
follow
know,
on the video.
you know me well. You know, but if it's a moron, they about to get this work.
Yep.
Big number.
Cause I'm putting cases on all you bitches who are morons.
Before you put a kiss at me, so that I'm literally highlighting that.
In Europe, the richest 10% own about 60% of everything.
So if you're someone here today who thinks South Africa will never catch up with the rest of the world, I want to say that you will be proved wrong.
Africa is the only reason why Western Europeans get to enjoy such a high quality of life, especially for France. They brag about being able to live well, even though they don't have to work as hard as Americans, but they omit the fact that all that comfort they enjoy comes off of the back of African resources and labor.
Africa has been kept poor deliberately for hundreds of years. And let me tell you what's going to happen. In the next 100 years,
You look at the West and you think we are living the dream. But let me show you the truth with numbers. In Europe, the richest 10% own about 60% of everything. In the United States, the top 1% alone hold almost a third of all wealth. And the bottom half together, they own just 2%.
They own nothing.
The richest
He's right.
1%, just 1 in 100, own about half of everything. In
Yep.
South Africa, the top 10% control more than 80% of the country's wealth.
That's the white
You see the
people. That's
pattern?
right.
It's not you against us. It's all of us beneath the same pyramid.
Yep.
Yes, there are differences. Here in the West, poverty is hidden behind clean streets and credit cards. People live in houses that belong to the banks, drive cars that belong to finance companies, and buy food on debt. I know it looks like comfort. It isn't, and it's actually control. In Africa, inequality is even more visible. The mansions of the few stand out against the struggles of the many. But the design is the same. A tiny elite holding everything while the majority carry the weight. We are actually more alike than you think. You are told that we are rich, but most of us are drowning in debt, stress, poison, food, and illusions, and we are told you are poor.
But pause it. But you're only saying this now because now it's affecting you white people. When you were living decently before they stole everything, black people are always impoverished globally. You had no problem with that. You're only speaking saying it's all of us now because your backbone, because your stomach is touching your goddamn backbone. That's the only reason. You people have never spoken up. Okay? And still just a few of you now like you Ukrainian or Russian or wherever the hell you are. You people have been living up the backs of black people for the last 800 years. And enjoyed your wealth. It ain't said shit. But now all of a sudden, now that's finally affecting you like everything will, it's always going to come to a zero-sum game because you're ruled by your people are psychopaths. So they're always going to steal as much as possible. Now there's no more to steal. So now it's affecting you. Now, oh, you know what? It ain't the race, ain't this. We're all affected. We're all affected now. You know why? Because it's affecting us too now. We're all affected. But go ahead, Joey.
Rich, your spirit is strong, and still the same sharks feed on you. So let's be clear. The problem is not that Africans lack or that Westerners have. The problem is that everywhere, the wealth of nations is captured by the few, while the many are told stories to keep them divided. So you think we are your enemy? We were told you are ours. But the truth is actually simpler than that. We are all being lied to.
Another
And
lie.
as long as
Black people have never thought of anybody as their enemy. You showed us your enemy. Black people didn't rob you, steal from you, invade you, take all your shit. You did that to us. So black people never thought, and black people today still don't think you know good bastards are our enemy. Still today. That's why I was arguing with that Nigerian guy. I see another guy arguing with another Nigerian guy today. Another saying the same thing. He's saying you're Nigerian, you Africans, you're kind and loving, and that's got to die with you. It does. Your kind and loving bullshit has got to die with you. Because we do have enemies. And white man, sadly enough, you've been our enemy. That's just a fact. We've been no one's enemy. We didn't try to overtake nobody. The Asians have been our enemies. These Indians have been our enemies. These are just facts. You only now want to unite because now you're all fucked up. They're fucked up in the game. And the main thing they want to do, they got to stop Africa. And you guys know, Africa's going to be on the rise. And we're not our enemy. Please, black people, help us too. Nah, it's your time to suffer. Go ahead, Joe.
believe the lie, the pyramid stands.
And unlike many countries in the West, including Britain, Africa is not saddled with debt. The British debt is 87% of the British GDP, while the African debt is only 9% of their GDP. All but 2 countries in Africa could pay off their debt within 1 year. So the potential is already there, and the growth is already beginning. Even now, Africa is the continent in the world with the fastest economic growth. The GDP per capita of sub-Saharan Africa is expected to rise by 800% from 2020 to 2050.
I said that. Thank you, little white boy. We don't know that. But they're going to try to do everything to stop that. They're going to do everything. Everything. Because Africa's always supposed to have been wealthy. Always supposed to have been the richest place on the planet. They're going to do everything to go against you saying, little white boy. Go ahead.
Can make quick economic progress like this should look at the economic history of the US. In 1977, the US economy was the same size as the African economy is today. And since then, the American economy has grown by a massive $18.419 trillion. And with Africa having more natural resources than the US, its progress in the next 40 years could be even more spectacular. So if you are someone here today who thinks that Africa will never catch up with the rest of the world, I want to say that you will be proved wrong. With its mammoth population, massive potential, and amazing stores of resources, within your lifetime, Africa will become an economic superpower. Thank you.
Africa is the only reason why Western Europeans get to enjoy such a high quality of life, especially for France. They brag about being able to live well even though they don't have to work as hard as Americans, but they omit the fact that all that comfort they enjoy comes off of the back of African resources and labor. England, Portugal, Germany, Belgium, Italy, and France all made a massive scramble for Africa in the 1880s, and France by far still has their foot in their old colonial ways. Even though these African nations have declared their independence, France and a couple other countries are still exploiting them, and they have given nothing in return to these African nations. They have built very little in infrastructure and construction. They have given next to nothing compared to how much they have taken to support their ways. Out of the 8 African coups that have happened since 2020, 7 of them were from French colonies. The French do not know how to build. They do not know how to innovate. They do not know how to grow democracy in any part of the world, which is why for the past 60, 70 years, they have just had French puppets that were ruling these African countries that finally got sick of how they were being treated. China has only taken an interest in Africa for 30 or 40 years, yet they have built more industry and infrastructure than all of the other European countries combined. So of course, the African nations are going to have a much more favorable disposition towards China, since they are the ones who are actually building factories, roads, bridges, hospitals. China is actually divesting a lot of their own resources to make this possible. You guys know how I feel about a lot of Chinese policy, but they did hit the nail on the mark when it comes to Africa. It is pretty clear that Russia's Wagner forces have had a lot to do with the coups that have taken place in Gabon, Niger, Mali, and
Lies. You know that's a lie. Russia's
It is a lie. Exactly. You always want to get credit to some white man. Exactly. Those are lies. Exactly, Joe.
Russia has nothing to do with it.
Burkina Faso. And even though the Russians aren't trying to actually help anyone, I believe they are trying to foment chaos and destabilize a lot of positions in the West. This can be an overall good thing for Central Africa. Even though the Russians' goal is to create a lot of instability for the West, this instability can spread to a lot of other African countries, and that can actually hurt a lot of China's positions there. Make no mistake, despite what you're seeing in the media, the US will find a way to exploit whatever is happening in Africa. At first, they seemed that they were very pro taking down the Niger coup, and now they've kind of backed off, and they said that they are going to respect the current government. No, a lot of
They're gonna respect it because they're scared of not. They're scared of not getting none the shit they need from Africa. See, that's what I told you about you white supremacists and all you moronic Negroes who talk shit about Africa. America can't survive without Africa either, stupid. But you've been told so much nonsense, and like I said, America's back is gonna have to be broken. And if I'm a leader in Africa, I'm gonna break the back. I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break your goddamn back.
the United
See,
States.
the levels of disrespect that Africa has been dealing with for hundreds of disrespect is just absolutely crazy. How all these people are parasited off the backs of the continent and show nothing and show you their ass. The constant disrespect. So the constant disrespect is crazy. So, okay.
Way to profit off of whatever instability is caused. If there is going to be a disruption in the energy supply, I will bet you that the U.S. will make money selling its liquid natural gas and oil. If there is going to be widespread war, the U.S. is going to make a lot of money selling its weapons. I would not put it past the United States interests to have their cake and eat it too. They may be happy about China building all of this infrastructure because that means the U.S. doesn't have to. It means
the U.S. never did. The U.S. never built shit. It's like Europe. They never talk about this civilization that they bought. They never built nothing. Nothing. It's been constant rape and pillage because the whole thing was make sure African people stayed impoverished, stayed stupid. Why the schools were never built. Why? Never built nothing. Make sure you stayed impoverished so you can keep supplying the white man with resources making them wealthy. They were never ashamed about it. They only upset now. How dare you Africans? What are you doing? Taking back your country and your resources. Imagine this, and like Joe said, the audacity. He said, "How dare me take back my own shit?" That's what they telling you. How dare you? While France is falling the fuck apart because it's always been poor and it's gonna stay poor. And I'm gonna make sure it stays poor. I'm like, I make sure your ass stay poor. And why these white French people talk to you crazy? Oh, you African. What do you do? What do you think about when you think of Africa? Oh, I think about poverty. And, I mean the poverty that you're stealing from them, making them poor? I don't know nothing about that. I just know I see poverty porn, see them look all poor and fucked up, flies all on their head and shit. That's what I see. Okay, good.
Anything to make Africa more prosperous and rich, but they can reap all of the benefits for when that actually happens. In my opinion, I think that every Western interest should be kicked out of every African country and then reintroduced as a potential trading partner among peers with equal standing, instead of these African nations having to deal with the West like guaranteed exploiters.
Africa has been kept poor deliberately for hundreds of years. And let me tell you what's going to happen. In the next 100 years, for the First and Second World War, the battlegrounds of capitalism and communism was Europe. The battleground of modern politics will be Africa. The West and the East will come here and they will compete here to have a say in what happens to Africa. And I'm totally
of course.
Africa.
They're gonna come, and they need to be ready. Exactly. They're not gonna just be poor. And say, oh, we're gonna allow these Negroes to now get their shit back, like you said, their resources back, and be wealthy. They're not gonna sit back and allow that. It's gonna be war, and then then you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have to break their motherfucking back. That's what's gonna have to happen, and that is what's gonna happen because they're not gonna have the numbers to do shit about it. Go ahead, Phil.
And I won't sympathize to the left, or to the east, and I won't sympathize to the west, even though I acknowledge the east as
somebody can get into in today's world. Okay, I'm gonna redefine the term industry. Africa. Here's the story. Follow me on this. 9 of the 20 fastest growing economies in the world are going to be in Africa in 2025. Everybody's overlooking it. Only 0.5% of the world's private equity and venture capital is going into Africa, despite the fact that it's going to be the only continent with a growing population. A marketplace is all about consumers and producers instead of people on the tail end of life that are draining money out of an economy. Africa has a vibrancy. The best industry somebody can get into in today's world. Okay, I'm going to redefine the term industry. Africa. Here's
Africa is the future. Let me explain. The first thing you have to understand is just how many Africans there are. 30 years ago, there was roughly as many people living in Europe as there was in Africa. But now there are now 3 times as many Africans compared to Europe. In 20 years, there will actually be 4 times as many. What this means economically is that the average African only needs an economic output that's 1/4 of that of a European in order for the African economy to be larger than Europe. And I think this is super impressive, especially given the disgusting role that Europe has played in Africa through colonization and empire. It's beautiful to see Africa having the potential to overtake Europe. The second thing you also need to understand is for a long time period, it was really just the Western countries that were able to dominate the world economically, politically, and through empire. But now in the last 20 years, we've seen the rise of many economies such as China, India, Russia, Turkey, etc. And what this means is all these countries are competing against each other. And if an African state doesn't like the West, they can just kick them out and bring in a different country in. And if they don't like that country, they can kick them out and bring another country in. So unsurprisingly, for instance, we're actually seeing a number of African countries that are, cutting off relations with European powers and even evicting their military. And because of this, you have to understand that the third fact I want to talk about is we're now at a point where a lot of the fastest growing countries economically in the world are in Africa. According to the most recent figures for this year, 6 of the fastest growing economies are now in that continent. And while I know there's certainly many issues in many other countries in Africa, it's very inspiring to see this happen. We saw this previously with Asia, and that continues to a partial degree with, of course, the rise of China. And we could be very soon seeing that also in Africa as well. But the fourth, and I think the most important thing, is while there's all these factors going on, nothing can be achieved without the will of the people. And certainly we're seeing in Africa a bunch of revolutions are happening that is leading to the kicking out of European imperialists and the collective will of African people. In Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, there have been revolutions where now the revolutionaries hold control. They are, for instance, creating factories, growth, economic opportunities for the common people, no longer just serving the foreign powers. And this is really what's going to take off Africa, is if that happens, then it's completely unstoppable. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah, so without the will of Africans, literally love what he said, without the will of Africans, nothing can happen. Literally all those collective videos and everything those people have said, it goes back to what I was saying today when it comes to even the industrialization. Without our will, without us pushing harder to fight for our countries, these people are comfortable where they are, and we've made them comfortable for so long. And that's why we see, even with the current events of people trying to fight, put or apply democracy, it shocks them because it's something that has not been long existing, of people being proactive, which is the right term, of people denying what has been long happening, people not being responsive on the things that have been taking effect in and on their daily lives. So the will of the people, this is globally, but focusing on Africa, again, it's factual. Literally, without the will of the people, the puppets, the West is comfortable. The will of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali is making majority of them uncomfortable, and actually it speaks a very big word to the rest of us. If only we can also have and trade the same leaders. But anyway, as we should switch to the network, or before that, let me go through the comments very quickly to those who are with us on the network. Shout out to, once again, Jiba Jaba on the building. In the building, I see Jason as well. Ricky says, you was millions times correct about Nicky Fuentes and his family's Caucasians guys on the job site. He's a ninja with Moore's bloodlines. Okay. And Jason says someone is going to call the cops, saying that black guy is high on something, screaming something about King Kong, lol. But yeah, we switching literally to the network. So in case you're here for the first time once again, or rather you're here and you've not been with us any other time on the network, today we have a movie night. So kindly, quick 2 minutes of your time, rush to the Google Play Store. In case you are using an Android device or phone, go to the Google Play Store. Black Hot Fire Network is the name, without any space, literally. Black Hot Fire Network, just the way I'm pronouncing it, and you'll find us right there. Download the app. No 0 cents required for you to sign in. No money required for you to download, and unless you just connected on the data, that's the only requirement. And of course, you can listen to us on the radio. I'm currently live on the radio, and of course you can switch literally direct on the 3 dotted lines on your upper left. It takes you to literally our all pages. When we talk about the show page, where that is where we're going to be watching the movie. And apart from the show page, we have the social page where you can post any articles in terms of links, any news and updates, that is if you're not on the WhatsApp chat. We also have, of course, the active other links on in terms of apparel store, where you can get yourself the amazing merchandise in terms of hoodies, t-shirts, vests, mugs, handbags for your side chick, for your wife, whatever you'd require. And of course, the amazing organic supplements we keep on sharing right here with you. So in case you are an Android device user, those are the instructions. If you're using Apple or a laptop, www.blackhotfirenetwork is the name. If in case you have a TV, we are on Amazon and Amazon TV and Roku TV. And of course, we are in Africa as well. So in case you're in Uganda or Kenya, kindly as well, we are on Android TV. Download the Black Hot Fire Network. Switch to the TV section and you'll be able to catch the movie live on the network. But of course, I'm switching literally right now. So see you guys right there in a few minutes. But I still see Jiba Jaba saying no negotiation, hardball with no concession with Western nations. Exactly. But yeah, so kindly switch to the network. That is why I'm switching. Keith as well. I think Yeah, Keith has already left, waiting for me to go to the network. Let me just do this very quickly. Okay. All right, see you guys there in a few.